are you?
Good. Good to
It's
see
nice to
you.
see you.
Yeah. So, oh, it looks like we're going live now with you. Okay, so now all the people who follow you will be joining.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I don't know. So what can't you get enough of?
That's a great question. And I was thinking about it while you were talking, and I think I can't get enough gossip and
Okay.
um enough out of like I'm very curious, so I really information.
Yes, enough
Love
information.
information.
Cool. Very interesting. All right. So with that said, I'll try to give you the gossip I can. I mean, it's about me, so it's probably boring.
I'll
But
take what I can get.
yeah, yeah. All right. So you ready? You feel like you're ready to draw?
Sure.
Okay,
Let's do
great.
it.
And we know each other. Let's just let people know a little bit
Yeah.
how we know each other. Okay. Go. You go. You go
So
ahead first.
I know you because I'm a big fan of Kid Congo,
Okay.
and you know Kid Congo very well.
Uh huh.
Um, as a Chicana, you know,
Uh
he's a Chicano idol.
huh.
And I've always been very big into all the bands he's been in, especially his solo stuff.
Okay.
And so there's that branch, and then the
Right.
other branch is through art museums and art institutions, specifically
Uh huh.
Mocha Tucson.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
you came in and one time we just got to chatting and it was.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
recognized you because there was one night at the Kontiki where uh, Kid was
Uh huh.
spinning some
Yeah.
Watusi, some wild stuff, and I believe you were there.
Yeah.
I think it was the makeup
Okay.
and
That might have been the night that I drank a blue drink and felt a little nauseous. I can't remember. It
the
was like one of those
scorpion,
blue, yeah, I don't know.
as
I'm
big
trying
as your head, right? Those drinks.
to...
Yeah.
All right, let's get
Yeah.
to drawing. Great, thank you for
Okay.
doing that. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Let's.
It's supposed to be my job, but what can you do? So, all right, here we go.
Okay.
And I'm sure you've got this set up a little
Okay.
bit better than myself.
It's gonna be okay.
I think this is kind of the fun part.
Just figuring this out. Okay.
I'm letting everyone see my living room from where I'm working. We have really these nice new white chairs. I hope everyone likes them.
Love a good chair.
No, it's a magazine. All right.
Okay. Here we are. Is that seeable?
Yes, looks
I'm
good.
having my husband tell me if everything is, yeah? Gives it a
Great.
thumbs up. All right.
All right, you've got even a tech to support you.
Yeah.
That's great.
He's good for so many things.
So sometimes I like to draw on magazines, so I'm going to do that tonight.
Okay.
And I like to draw on furniture magazines. So, all right. So I'm trying to think. What do you feel like talking about tonight? Anything that's on your mind?
I was actually, let's try it out. I was actually thinking about your last show with Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about, what was it? You were talking about, Drag Race.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't watch a lot of that, but what I do watch is, have you heard of Dragula?
Oh, yeah, that's like the goth version of Drag Race.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
I watched
exactly it.
I've watched the first 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm. I find that they didn't really come to their own until the third, when they
Okay.
had some fantastic contestants. A drag king who named Landon Sider, who
Yeah. Oh, I follow Landon. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Then you know.
Yeah, and that's nice because it's they don't do drag kings on RuPaul's Drag Race.
That's one
Um,
of the reasons I sort of stopped
mhm.
watching. It felt a little not inclusive, and um,
Mhm.
I know that it's different now, but that intersection between um, horror and
Mhm.
fabulousness
Mhm.
is kind of where I live, where
Yeah.
I like to live. And I know that you, isn't it true that you also like horror?
Yeah, I do. I like horror. I it's weird. I'm
Hmm.
not a fan of like torture horror.
Right.
I don't like to see I have a feeling I'm okay with men being attacked and dismembered and all that. It's just I don't like the trope of like it happening to women,
Yeah.
and it's upsetting to me. So I just really can't watch it. Although I do have to say, like Suspiria and some of the, a lot of those works. I'm forgetting his name now.
Dario
Yeah,
Argento.
Argento. Even though there's a lot of that going on in Argento, they're just so beautifully done. That um, I will, I gotta watch some of that, and I like Mario Bava, but I do like, I'm part of it has to do with like, um, that it's I like the lighting and I like kind of the set design and
The
I like
color,
all the and the
right?
colors, yeah, and I think it's something that I get inspired by. I mean, when I'm making my artwork, I'm almost like inhabiting a film while I make it. And it's always the sad part is like I make the drawings and they're nothing like the film in my head, but I do the
Right.
best that I do the best that I can. So a little piece of that comes through. But yeah, in general, yeah, I do like horror. What started you being interested in horror?
Oh God.
Do you remember the first
Eccentric.
thing?
Yeah. So I have eccentric parents. My father specifically. I think I was watching. I saw Eraserhead when I was like 6 or 7.
Oh, wow.
And so thanks, Dad, for effing things up for me. But no, they just had really unusual, um, uh, interesting taste, and that definitely rubbed off for good or ill. Um, so yeah, Eraserhead was probably the first. I mean, if you can call it that, if you can call it horror, then it was probably that. And
Yeah.
then The Thing,
Oh
Aliens.
yeah. So
How about
monster
you?
movies. Yeah, I guess it kind of started with monster movies. In some ways, yeah, I could definitely say Eraserhead is like a monster movie, except the monster is like a baby. Which,
Right.
yeah, which and I think probably parents go through that. Um,
I
but
would.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, I liked all the Dracula, like all the Universal Studios ones, like Dracula and Frankenstein. Those are the ones I used to watch, and I liked. Um, they're very like typical um, kinds of stuff. And then I think I liked the atmosphere. I liked the castles and
Hmm.
um, the the fact that things weren't taken care of, like falling apart. I liked because
Oh yeah.
our house was very clean, so I liked. I think I like places that had like my parents aren't here. I'm not complaining. It was nice to grow up in a clean house.
Right.
But I do think that I kind of liked that things were decrepit, and I think I'd always had kind of a fascination with decay and stuff like that in a way too. And just two horror films had a lot of emotion in it that was overt, like people, you kind of always knew how people felt because they'd either scream or laugh maniacally or, you
Right.
know,
Like very melodramatic hammer horror type stuff where
yes. Yes.
Mrs. Havisham and everything's falling apart and everything's gorgeous.
Yes. Yes.
Um, I love that too. What do you think about? I took a class on horror and art actually. That was fantastic.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Why do you think we as people like to be scared? Do you think it's ingrained or do you think
Oh,
it's
that's a great question. What do you think?
well, um I think it's because we don't do anything really terrifying most of the time, most of us.
Yeah,
I
I
think
guess.
there's this sense of like, I don't know, a sense that of, adrenaline
Yes,
upkeep
yes.
that needs to be filled or,
It's yeah, like the fight or flight thing. You know, we're
yeah.
not like being chased by dinosaurs anymore or
Right.
saber-toothed tigers. So,
Exactly.
so maybe we need that. I mean, I watch my cat Elroy, and I just see like even if he doesn't have anyone to play with, he will kind of come up, definitely with a fantasy where he's stalking something or something's trying to attack him. You know,
Mm.
so it's like um, I I get that people kind of want that. It's a weird thing because when you were saying that, I was thinking to myself, oh, does that mean like serial killers like rest easy? Like, you know what I mean? Like they get it out of their system.
You know what? In a way, they probably do. In a way, there's that. But then I do watch and listen to a lot of true crime, so this is
Okay.
just right up my alley. Um, and it's strange because I always felt that um, fascination with serial killers. As a woman, I feel like it might have saved me from a lot of different
Huh.
situations.
Oh, because you kind of
Just
knew you knew how they operated, or is that?
sort of, yeah. Just knowing, red flags and just you know, sort of how to take care of yourself, what to look for when you live in a city. Both of us lived in New York City. Like some of that is like essential knowledge, to um, but I still find it scarier to live in the country or a small town than to live in New York City. Uh,
Right, right.
I don't know why that is, but
I
just
feel like I
city
feel like
slicker.
it's yeah. I mean, I feel like it's because there's a lot of people already out. Like in New York City, even though everyone might ignore you if you're calling for help,
Mm-hmm.
like that was an old movie I saw on television, which probably leads me back to this kind of violence against women is kind of not, not I'm sensitive to it. Is there was that one? It was called the something. It was like this crazy thing was this woman was being attacked on the street, and there was like all these apartments in New York that just like ignored her.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, yeah, and it was like, and then it was kind of like the police trying to get to the bottom of what was happening, and they kind of discovered that everyone was like checking out until they finally found someone who was willing to kind of testify to what they saw. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that was a memory that interrupted my flow of thought. But uh, that I actually didn't find that to be true when I lived in New York. I did find that people actually, because there were so many people around, I felt like the the likelihood that someone would come in and try to help or at least intervene was there. Where, like in LA, if I'm walking on the street at the time I lived there was really no one around. Someone could just drive by, you know? It was a different kind
Yeah,
of, yeah, I mean, it's changed now. I think there's more street life, but um, yeah.
I think you're right. Um,
But the fight or flight thing, I think, is, yeah, definitely a horror film thing. I think um, it's not a pretty thing to think about, but I do think that people are maybe fascinated by um, other people suffering because they'd rather not suffer, you know, which takes all the fun out of horror movies when you think about it that
Right.
way.
Oh boy, it sure does. But
Sorry. Yeah.
no, I also feel like if you're in a historically marginalized group and, you know,
Right.
I kind of feel like um, it's something that's familiar to you, and maybe you're less, I don't know, I'm very sensitive, and I too, like, I don't like movies like, you know, the torture porn stuff, or like,
Like
I know,
I've never seen a Saw movie.
ugh, it's
Yeah.
just, it's,
Yeah.
there's no reason for it.
Yeah.
I'm more of like a psychological person. So
Yeah.
when we grew up, um, you know, this might be the same. I've heard a lot of like folk tales. We had La Llorona, who
Oh, right,
you
right.
would know, and um, so that's a woman who it kind of it a bit runs into like the whole Mexican machismo thing, but a woman is spurned by her husband and she drowns her two kids, and then every night she's out looking for her two kids,
Right,
and
right.
stealing you if you're on the street. Um, and so to get us indoors when we were little, all my parents had to say, all if you're Chicano, if you're Mexican, all your parents would have to say was, if you're not in by the time it gets dark, you're gonna get a visit from La Llorona and we're never gonna see you again.
Ah,
So as soon as it started to turn dark, we were inside.
oh, that's hilarious.
We were inside. Yeah.
You know, because fairy tales work that way too, you know? Like you
Oh
go
yeah.
too far and a witch will get you or a troll will get you.
Uh-huh.
And like as I've gotten older, I've started thinking about trolls more. You know, like trolls and gnomes and stuff, because
Mm-hmm.
you know my body starts to be more like that. You know, hair coming out and it's a little more saggy, and I start to, you know, I start to think about like, hey, you know, they were people too. I mean, what was their story? Maybe they were grumpy because young people are obnoxious. You know.
Oh, tell me about it. Yeah. Um, I, you know, in a sense, feel very much like an old lady, gnome who, you know, lives under her bridge and uh, tolerates little. I try not to be that way, but you know,
No, I mean I'm
happens.
exaggerating for just
Yeah.
for fun, but it is, yeah. I mean, I think I think that sometimes these horror films and these um, these oh, I don't know, these
Folk tales
folk
and
tales. Yeah, I think they're there to talk about like real things that happen with our bodies and with our psychology and like,
right.
you know, what goes on with us. You know, and I'm just trying to think like, do we have outlets like that now for people like to learn about that kind of stuff? I mean,
Um,
where are our folk tales now, you know?
I feel like parents were meaner when we were young. Maybe it's a generational thing, but I kind of feel like maybe our parents were doing us a favor, you know. So latchkey kids were like left alone. So, you know, I'm talking about, well, my generation. So, which yeah, which is Gen X, is sort of, you know, latchkey, alone all the time, you know, go ahead and uh, ride your bike to the dump and play in that for a few hours. We're busy kind of.
Yeah.
My parents were really wonderful. But I did. I think, you know, kids have a lot less freedom than probably you or I did when we were younger.
No,
Um,
no, I bet. Yeah, I mean, I think I used to play around like in um, I'd kind of we go into like sewage pipes and take off our clothes and like bathe in the sewage pipes that would empty out from scattergood into the ocean, or we'd go to the sulfur piles that were over at another factory. I mean, I grew up at the beach, but there seemed to be a lot of like
Yeah.
industrial stuff on the edges of town, And it was like I never thought about it. But look, I'm bald now, and I'm sure it's because of that. You know, it's not
Oh
that
no.
it ran in the family, but
No, no.
it's I think that and there's like uh, there's a whole theory like right about education and folks I mean and kids needing to actually have less time where they're being supervised, right? And where there's like these open playgrounds that where there's just like trash and things, and they have monitors that kind of watch them build things, and they can burn things if they want to and swing from ropes, but there's always someone like not trying to scare them about anything but just watching to make sure they're safe. So it's like there is another way of like light supervision,
Right.
where kids can kind of experiment and play in a way that maybe is more dangerous. Maybe that is, I mean, how, like, I am a fan of structure because I think you get to play, you kind of know what the game is. So it's,
Right.
and there's not a feeling of like, there's a feeling that everyone kind of knows the rules. So I kind of like that a little bit, but I also like that you can break the rules because you know them. So I don't know.
Right.
But
Just
then
kind of,
sorry.
yeah.
But then there's the other side of it, which is kind of like, is that too much structure?
It's hard to say. I mean, we don't have kids, but the reason we don't have kids is because so we can enjoy like all the freedom and staying up late, waking up late and all that. But so from my friends, they say we never thought we'd be like helicopter parents, but here we are, terrified of letting them go out and do anything by themselves. Though ostensibly, I would think that it's probably no more dangerous now than it was. I mean, am I being naive? I don't know. There was
uh,
always kind of,
yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it's funny, now and then I'll flash back on like some 70s era kind of lechery coming my way when I was a kid, you
Yeah,
know,
right,
or like a,
right.
a guy with a hole in his pocket and like wants
Yeah,
you to put your hand in the pocket, things like that.
right.
But my parents kind of said don't do that, and I didn't. So it was good. I didn't get to find out what was in that pocket, even
Right.
if I thought it was candy.
I guess we'll never know. Thank God.
I mean, the 70s really were very pervy. I think there was a lot of
It's true. They were pervy, but
you watch the
like,
films, you watch those films and you're like, wow, people were, yeah. Anyway, how,
yeah,
how's it going with your doodle?
good. I tossed a page across the room and I'm just like enjoying filling up the page and filling up space and being creative.
Great. Now, do you have a lot of opportunity to be able to be creative? Like, do you make time for it, or do you do it in other ways? I mean, doodling isn't really like I I kind of see it as something to do like when I'm talking, or you know. Um, but do you make time for a creative activity? Don't feel bad if you don't.
I don't. I'm more of like a big, grand, huge thinker. I have a lot of crazy, weird cinematic dreams and stuff like that. But I don't make a lot of art anymore. And I'm
Do you,
So I'm really glad that I'm getting to do that now.
Do you keep a like a dream journal or something like that?
I do have a dream journal. I have a written one, and I do have one where I draw or sort of sketch
Oh, okay.
what it is that I'm dreaming, and um, something that came out of that actually was that speaking of museums, so I had this dream. Is it all right? I know people hate, so I've been told. I'm really interested in people's dreams. I find them endlessly fascinating,
You
but
can talk about whatever you want.
all
Yeah.
right. Well,
Don't worry about anybody else.
I I had a dream that I was in the Guggenheim of all places.
Mm-hmm.
You may be familiar,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was running up the ramp as you do,
Yeah.
and at the very top. So the Guggenheim is like a. If you've never been to the Guggenheim, it's twirly like that. So it's kind of
Right. Oh, I
built.
like the diagram. Cool.
And there's just I guess like a ramp all the way up, and so that at the top there's a door. And in my dream, it was just imperative that I get up to this door at the top. And I got up there and I flung the door open, and there was a squirrel dressed as the Pope. And he was on like he was just like on a little pedestal, and he was giving last rites to this man. And I apologized profusely because that's what you do when you're met with the Pope squirrel. And he had a little ring on his finger. He had like a mitre and this whole outfit.
Oh, so cool. I love this
And
dream.
and then I apologized and I backed out of the room. And that was the whole dream. It was bizarre, but on par for like, dreams I've had before. And I told it to my friend Kathleen and a few other friends. And for my 30th birthday, they found a taxidermied squirrel and sewed him a Pope outfit. It
Wow.
was like your literal dreams coming true.
That's so nice.
It was amazing. So uh, it's nice to have friends who um, sort of indulge your eccentricities and whims.
Yeah, that's great.
And
You know
yeah,
what's really, I mean, I love that dream. It kind of reminds me of like a Fellini movie because, he's like Juliet of the Spirits or something like that.
Julia,
Because it's always, it's kind
yeah,
it's kind of like because you went to Catholic school, right? Is that
I did. Ugh.
Yeah. So it kind of seems like not to, it's a little like you're working. It's like it makes me think about like the the mystical figure of the Pope is also kind of like a memory of those things that you might like a person might carry from like going to Catholic school. I don't know. I was just
Oh,
starting to
sure, yeah.
yeah. But those
In-
movies are so much about like Julia of the Spirits is a great one because
so beautiful.
it's really beautiful and what a weird little like dollhouse she lives in.
I know. And
When you
the house with the slide into the pool, and it's all very.
Oh yeah, the sexy house.
Yes, the sexy house. It's all very candy floss colored and sort of
Yeah.
magnificent. And I do love Fellini. My favorite Fellini is, have you heard of Toby Dammit?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's Terrence. Is that Terrence Stamp?
It
Is
is
the
Terrence Stamp being
he's
absolutely babely in that role.
yeah, he's very dreamy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good, like, he's a good Nordic goth look. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Very, very, very sickly Viking kind of look.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's, yeah.
And and I know like it's not a Fellini that a lot of people have seen. So I always recommend it because it's short. First of all, it's on Spirits of the Dead, and
Yeah.
you have Alain Delon, and I'm interested in doppelgangers because Gemini. So he's in that, and then Peter Fonda, is it Peter Fonda and Jane Fonda
Oh
are
yeah.
are in another story. This is all called Spirits of the Dead. Um,
That's the one she was in. That was her husband directed that at the time. I forget his name right now, but
yes, yeah,
yeah,
that's right. But
yeah.
they kind of play, I want to say lovers or something a little bit scandalous.
Oh,
But
she and Peter did that. That's right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's,
Oh, yeah.
you
Well,
know,
why not? I mean, it's just a movie, but
that's what I'm saying. It's
just
pretend.
give the people what they want. If the people want
And
incest in the, we want the Fondas.
we want the Fondas in bed having sex on a bunch of furs. That's what I want.
That's what the people want.
Right. It's
They
not
don't
me,
want
it's the people.
they don't want democracy. No, they want the Fondas and a feather bed.
The aerobics wasn't enough. I needed something a little more gauche. No.
So
Yep.
I have some unfortunate news that our time is up.
What?
It's yeah, I
Already?
know it goes by really fast, but
So
I I
fast.
know, and I stick with the formula and we keep it to 30 minutes. But I really appreciate you joining. How did it go with the drawing? Are you oh yeah.
Um, Took me to weird and wonderful
Oh
places, which
yeah.
I'm gonna try and flip myself over. That sounded bad, but okay, here we go.
Well, after our last I love the crunchy noises. That's my
It's tape. You should see how this is rigged. Oh my goodness.
Did
I'll
you put it
send
on
you.
your you put it on your book collection, right?
I actually I have one of my husband's, I think it's a microphone stand, and we just taped the shit out of it, and we chingered it, and so it worked amazingly.
Yeah, it looks great. Well,
But
thanks for going to that trouble, and thanks for
no trouble at all.
coming and being with Doodle with me, and our studio audience. Thanks, studio audience, too, for being here, and
Thanks,
for
buddy.
for filling the comments with all sorts of really interesting conversations. As always, if you ever want to just message me your drawings, I love to see what people come up with from our conversations, and it's great. So thank you. Who's coming next? Artist Eric Jackson is joining me next week. He's never been on Instagram, so we're trying to get him an account and see how that goes.
That sounds fun. Now, that's some jerry rigging right there.
So I
Very
mean,
good.
I think Instagram needs to give me some money for getting people on here, so that we can just do the show. No, don't do it,
Make a
Instagram.
mint. We're the Cardat. No.
No, we don't need to go that way. Let's just have fun. All right.
Brian, thank you so much. I had such a great time.
Good. It was great talking with you and just getting to know you better. So I appreciate that. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend and a great week. And I'll see you next Friday. Bye.